Hello and welcome to I believe it's 24th of January, yes, dual session. This is question time. We do have a very huge lack of members even turning up, but we do have a few people turning up at least. Tonight again, it will be questions. The current Taoiseach is not available at the moment, so we have Krispy Kreme, the I think Tennessee is how it's pronounced. I got told this a few days ago and I've completely forgotten it. But yes, they are covering for the Taoiseach today. Apologies as I just try find these Oh yes, I we will be getting the speaking cards shortly. I was able to complete most of them, but unfortunately I wasn't able to import them in time. So hopefully for tomorrow's session we will have them. Anyway, it's now time for the national anthem.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our doll coverage. My name is Kamla, and I am, of course, the Director General of the RTE, but I'm also a commentator, as well as all of the other things I do in Ireland. So, Dan and I are going to be here this evening with you throughout this question time session, and hopefully tomorrow during the legislative session.
I'm not too sure, but I believe first up we have yeah, LCC. I can't pronounce it, so I'm gonna have to get Carmen to do that for me. But yes,
The
LCC.
the Lease Cian election, which is the deputy to the Cian Corla, Eamon McGrath, the presiding officer of the Dáil. And I don't know who has nominated or been nominated for this, um, but I would not be surprised if Deputy Dylan Hello 20 runs again for the position of LCC for what would be an unprecedented third time.
Well, you wouldn't be wrong there. We have just had it confirmed that Dylan is running for LCC again, and she's delivering the same speech I'm sure she's given every single other time.
As I said, this is unprecedented. I've spent 6 terms in the Dáil and I've never seen somebody run for LCC 3 times in the space
Hold
of
on, if
three
I could
weeks.
just interrupt you there. She has actually withdrawn her candidacy, so she will
Oh,
not be running for LCC.
wow. Okay. Hmm.
I mean, personally, I certainly wasn't expecting that, but
I was not either. Wow. Let's see who's in the chamber right now. We see Leader of the Opposition. We see the Social Democrats are out in full. Um, it
something
appears
else,
that
something else to mention. We
Wilberforce.
do actually have, yeah, a new LCC nomination for Wilberforce, someone who's actually in the government and may have the backing to win.
I think so. And honestly, it would look as if he probably has the votes to win because I do believe these are the kinds of things that governments talk about before they come in. And if they were going to support him, then they were going to support him anyway because they realized it would be essentially a waste of parliamentary time to go over the same election of an officer of the House over and over and over again to no avail. So I think Wilberforce may end up being the consensus candidate for that position. And then when potentially after Eamon leaves the Dáil, he might be a future CC himself. He's promised the chamber that he'll be unbiased.
And I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if he got this even without government support, because he is a very respectable person within the community.
He is,
as well.
absolutely, yes.
I believe they're moving to voting now. Unless there's another member I'm not aware of.
As of right, Dylan is trying to get recognition to speak. For what, I don't know. Dylan's just in the wheelchair. All right, so the question has arose on whether or not Wilberforce should be elected. I see Taz across the chamber. Dylan has voted Neil. The Social Democrats have voted Ta as well. The leader of the opposition, Mr. Sunday, and that other deputy from Fianna Fáil had abstained. And Wilberforce has been elected.
I apologise for the brief moment of silence there from me. I was sorting out my microphone, but should be now fixed. But yes, we do see Wilberforce elected as LCC.
Okay.
We are in fact currently seeing, I believe, the oath they have to take to become LCC at the moment.
Yes. The LCC and the CC have to take an oath before they can assume the position. And in the case of the CC getting elected, the clerk administers the oath. But in the case of the LCC, it is the CC who administers the oath in this case. And Wilberforce is almost done with the oath.
Yes.
I would say something.
It's a fairly lengthy oath, the oath that deputies have to take.
Yeah, but it is quite important considering how vital their role can be, and obviously we need someone we can trust in that role, especially for impartiality, which the CC himself has been called out on multiple times.
Well, I wouldn't say multiple times. The only time I recall that coming up was when he spoke at the Green Party National Conference in the lead up to the most recent general election. But
I mean,
before
for
that,
people like Brian, like he brought it up quite a bit. Probably never as a serious allegation, but it was made multiple times. Few people weren't happy with him.
And now Wilberforce has been sworn in. He's headed back to his seat. And Dylan Hello 20 is about to make a point of order.
First point of order of the session already. Wouldn't be the duel without that.
It would not, absolutely not. Dylan is making a point of order on Standing Order 23, which states every sitting of the Dáil should be governed by a printed order paper, which shall be prepared under the direction of the Ceann Comhairle, and is saying that the CC did not publish an order paper and is now asking for the orders of the day.
We'll wait to see the response at this point in time.
And now there are government deputies saying that nobody asked. But at the same time, for a Friday session, one Fianna Fáil deputy said it is their right. But the issue is, everyone knows what a Friday session is for. And everyone knows it is leaders' questions, party leaders first, and then it's Taoiseach's questions first, and then party leaders' questions, and then ministers' questions. So the format of the question session has been set in stone for quite some time. So many times, and I've experienced this being a deputy myself, in most instances when it's question time, there is no order paper because we know how questions go.
Well, something important to mention here is the CC has deflected this to the clerk, saying it's them who prepare the order paper. However, Dylan Hello 20 doesn't seem to be backing off this one.
Well, technically, it is the clerk's responsibility to ensure that deputies have the order paper, but the wording of the standing order is a little bit weird. And it looks as if Oscar, oh, wait, no. Who is this in the pink suit trying to raise a point of order now?
I mean, Dylan did just call someone a blue-haired freak, which I do believe was the same deputy that rose to raise a point of order.
And now Deputy Dylan is saying the member is underage. I have no respect for him. I withdraw in favor of him sending proof of age. Okay, that's interesting.
I don't know what anyone between the ages of 13 and 16 would send as proof of age, but...
All right, Leader of the Opposition is up with his first question. And if anything is to be expected, it seems as if the opposition is probably going to question the government's lack of activity over the last week. But let's see. Or should I say alleged lack of activity over the past week?
I mean, from my personal point of view, I haven't seen much, but I don't really have government pings on at this moment, so...
Okay, Mr. Sunday is saying it has been 2 weeks since the government has been formed. We got 3 pitiful statements. Oh, that's his words, not mine.
One thing's for sure, he isn't happy about it.
He clearly isn't, and you can tell he's being very forceful and deliberate with his words this evening. And now he's mentioning the legislation that the government has done so far, so the only pieces that they brought forward have been roundly condemned as awful. My goodness.
To be fair, they have been shot down in every dual session so far. However, the leader of the opposition himself also had one of his own bills being shot down as well.
Well, that's expected because the government has a majority with which to do that.
but it was mostly unanimously agreed by anyone who wasn't the government that their bills weren't the greatest of all time.
And Mr. Sunday is about to run out of his 2 minutes to ask his question. And he has asked, when will he be? Oh, he has asked Krispy Kreme when he will be withdrawing from the quote unquote dead government and allow the Irish people to choose a better one. Now to Krispy Kreme, the Taoiseach, for his response.
Again, this is someone who actually has quite a lot of say over the government because he could pull his party out at any point in time, which I do
Right.
believe is what Mr. Sunday is trying to point out here.
And he's saying he understands the members' concerns. Oh, what is he going to say now? He has spoken with members of the government and the Taoiseach herself to discuss what we'll be doing going forward. And I'm reading what he's saying in case if you're viewing at home, you have a hard time seeing the words that are coming out. The cabinet will be having a meeting tonight at 9 p.m., so right after the session this evening, to discuss what will be happening going forward. And then a statement will be released to the public. We have received a reaction from CC McGrath's just saying, oh, okay, this is interesting. Huh. And now Mr. Sunday is up for his second question of the evening.
Yeah, so that's quite a big thing with the cabinet ministers meeting. It depends if even anyone turns up because, like Mr. Sunday's pointed out, the government hasn't been the most active.
Right. And now Mr. Sunday is saying this government was meant to have a plan for the term from the very beginning. It's called the Program for Government. That is an accurate statement, yes. And he's asking, why is it taking 2 weeks for this government to just begin writing another one? And Mr. Sunday is saying that he welcomes it if the government is writing a new one. And he said the original one was, quote, the biggest load of drivel I have ever read. Wow. He said it was ambiguous and made no points at all. And we have Deputy Dillon saying it was a heap of kach. And for those of you, if you know what kach means, it is a South African word for an expletive. And he is asking if the Taoiseach has any idea, Mr. Sunday is asking if the Taoiseach has any idea what this new program for government will be.
I mean, if a new PFG is released, this could be quite a big thing because it'll re-outline everything they want to do, and this probably comes in response to how badly it was taken the first time it was released.
Right, but as I would say, this is unprecedented in that a government that has not changed in terms of its partisan composition, rewriting its program for government. Because, for example, when I was Taoiseach, I had 2 programs of government, but that's because I had 2 different coalitions. I started out with Sinn Féin and Fine Gael, and at the time I was leader of the Labour Party, but I had to break the coalition with Fine Gael and went with Social Democrats and Sinn Féin. To do that, I needed to do a new program for government. So I can understand a government doing it when a party changes, but not after it's been elected to carry out the program that it wrote. And now the Taoiseach is saying he never once said a new PFG would be drafted up. This government was formed on the original program, which was outlined after they formed the government, and he says it will be upheld.
So this does actually mean there won't be a new PFG. I don't think I actually saw anything on a new PFG being released, but
I've seen nothing either, and I don't know where Mr. Sunday would have received information to make such an assertion. But that is what he said. He said the meeting tonight will be in regards to government activity, which I have discussed with the Taoiseach, as I'm also upset with the current activity.
again, these are words coming out of someone who can actually dissolve the government and potentially side with someone else.
Well, we also have to remember the government is new, and most of the people in the cabinet are new themselves. So they do need either help or advice or some kind of time with which to learn how to govern. Now, mind you, governing is not, being in government on the front bench is not the best on the job learning experience. You tend to build up to a certain point, but because the Green Party is technically new to politics, and they're not in and they haven't been in power before. Most of them, they do not have certain knowledge and experience that say I would have had, or that Killian Clark would have had when he was in politics before becoming Taoiseach. So that's just one major issue. And now you see Oscar, leader of the Social Democrats, trying to seek recognition for a point of order. He has recognition. He says this is the fifth occasion where the deputy in pink has broken standing orders. I think he's referring to Deputy Dylan, hello 20, for Shannon, and said they put our chamber and representatives to shame. And he's asking that she withdraw from the chamber for their behavior and the shame they bestow upon us, to apparently shouts of hear, hear from the government benches. And now the CC is addressing the deputy for Shannon, Dylan.
I would like to add on to what you said about the Green Party. I do think it is I think it is good that we do have new blood, but it is vital that we remain open-minded to what they have to say and how they begin to learn how to run Ireland.
Well, I do understand what you're saying, so because I was new once when I just started in Ireland, and I was a senator, member of the Senate, and then I went to the Dáil and served as Minister for Justice and Equality for 2 terms, and then I was in opposition for a short while, and then I got back into government as Minister for Business, and then went to opposition again, and came back as Minister of State for Democratic Institutions, and that built me up to become to a point where I could have been Taoiseach and been somewhat successful in the role. And now Mr. Sunday is asking, asking what he has to do to get an active government? Is it to leave the current one and allow a new one to be formed? And then he's speculating that the Labour Party can't do what, Mr. Sunday?
I believe he's referring to the fact that they can't remove themselves from the coalition.
And he says, I can't trust them to publish any minutes. And he's asking for more time to ask his questions. So he hasn't received a full 2 minutes.
The CC did say earlier he was limiting it to 1
to
minute.
1 minute. Yes, but standing orders allow for.
Yeah, that was
the
only
standing
40
orders.
seconds, that question.
He did only get 40 seconds, but the standing orders allow for 2 minute questions. So, and he's saying we're running overtime, which is also true, because leaders' questions is supposed to take 18 minutes of the question hour. And now we are 23, almost 24 minutes in. And we're still on the leader of the opposition asking his first set of questions. And he is saying that he does not trust the government to have this meeting or to publish any minutes from it.
I mean, what he is saying here is quite serious accusations. He could even be implying that they're not going to fix their inactivity issues.
It is. And he's saying he's levying the accusation of the government that they did not publish anything about the foreign visits that they had recently, and is now saying he essentially does not trust the government to publicize anything that came from or that will come from this meeting that they're going to have this evening. And now Krispy Kreme's response to that is he's not too sure about what to respond to, but he is going to say that what's he saying? He's still typing, and it's come up all tags. Very well said, Krispy Kreme.
I mean, this is a very important meeting. I'm sure lots of people are happy that it might be happening, but obviously Mr. Sunday doesn't truly believe that it will happen in the effect that most people want it to, from the words Mr. Sunday has been using. He doesn't seem to have the most optimistic view of the outcome of this meeting.
And he is saying he personally does not see it necessary to trigger an election. Especially when he's voiced his concerns to other members of the cabinet. And just for those wondering how many deputies are present in the chamber, there are currently 13 deputies present in the chamber right now. 6 from the government, 2 from Fianna Fáil, 3 from Fianna Fáil. Dylan is a Fianna Fáil deputy. And we have, 1 just left. So it's now 12 deputies currently present in the chamber. But it must be noted that a quorum in the Dáil Éireann is 7 deputies, not counting the CC. So we still have a quorum, even though as the hour goes on, I do believe some other deputies will leave.
We do currently have Oscar Clark, O'Sullivan or Clark asking some questions at this moment.
Right. Oscar is saying the Greens have failed to deliver on their mandate, and that they have not just left behind their promises, but have showed us a complete disregard for the responsibilities of leading a nation, especially through such challenging times. Instead of leading with action and ambition, they've served Irelanders a plate of nothing. I'm reading his words directly as he types them. The government hasn't posted anything meaningful in days. The only updates we've seen are meaningless, such as vague concepts for foreign visits with concepts in quotes, and a cheerful birthday greeting to the president. Is this the height of their ambition for Ireland? Is this what Irelanders deserve? A government that governs by captions and birthday messages? That's the rhetoric. And so he asks his question, and there's just tags after that. He's asking, does the government He says, does the government plan on rolling up their sleeves and getting to work? Or are they going to continue this skit, dragging Ireland's reputation and trust of its people through the mud? And that is a question that Krispy Kreme has to answer. I don't know if he's in a position to give such an answer to that question, given the rather incendiary nature of the question.
We've just had Oscar calling for, I think, some members and ministers to actually resign and make way for those who will lead the government actively.
Mm-hmm.
These are quite serious accusations to be making against, I mean, quite a relatively young government. It has been 2 weeks, so I believe that is 1/8 of their term completed.
I mean, it's only been, technically 2 weeks and 2
1/4,
days,
sorry.
because Krispy Kreme is answering. Again, I have to agree that the recent activity has been questionable. I'm sure we all feel the same way. Which is why, as I say again, I've spoken with Antisha, and have put my plan forward to her. The content of this plan we do not know as of this point in time, but RTE will try to get that information and to make it public as soon as we can verify it.
I mean, I do have to say, he is handling these questions quite right, especially, quite well, I mean, especially not being the tee shot. But
Well, Krispy Kreme is a known factor in Irish politics, and he's been around for a little bit. So he knows how to respond to harsh questions because he's asked several of his own in his day.
yeah, I have seen quite a bit of him, so.
And Mr. Sunday just said from a sedentary position that nothing is outlined in the program for government and that it is meaningless, heckling across the chamber to Krispy Kreme. And now we are at the 30-minute mark, and he's now called on the leader of the Social Democrats, Oscar, to ask another question.
Krispy Kreme did just say that he will be releasing someone will be releasing the events of the meeting that they're planning to hold to the public, so we will
And he's
hopefully get
speaking
some
all
more.
tags. All right, now he's asking about the Department of Business, asking when about the recruitment of new registrars, and he's saying, ooh, he's criticizing the government's recruitment strategies for new registrars for the Department of Business, and is saying it's an insult to the Irish people and a clear sign that the government is out of touch with the real challenges facing the business sector. And he's asking, does government have any plan to tackle this, or are we to expect more of the same? And is asking, well, when will the government stop putting a band-aid over the challenges the country faces and will take responsibility for the issues they have ignored for so long?
Well, we now have questions to and Tanishtor, I believe that's pronounced. Gonna have to get Karma to check that for me, but
It's Tadishta, and just for those wondering what the difference is, it is now that anyone can ask questions. Any deputy can ask questions instead of just the party leaders. So now anyone can ask a question, and now Dylan, Hello 20, deputy for Shannon, has been given the floor to ask a question. Dylan is asking, it is no doubt the government came into power claiming to be equality champions with its plan to establish an equality commission, calling trans people transphobes, speaking about possibly their own experiences in the general chat. And despite this, Tanisha said in the past, and I quote, "No, Fine Gael has AIDS and every Labourite is morbidly obese." I'm trying to figure out the rationale behind this questioning.
I mean, these are lots of allegations they're throwing here at the moment.
And all of what Dylan is saying right now is coming up as tags. So I'm wondering exactly what the purpose of this question is.
I mean, clearly Dylan is very focused on the equality. This is the questions they've brought up every single dual session.
Mm-hmm.
Again, making more accusations.
It is slightly confusing as to why this question. What's the purpose of this?
This is turning into more of a statement than a question. And we do have Oscar raising a point of order here, leader of the Social Democrats.
Okay, let's hear what he has to say.
Waiting for the CC to confirm whether they'll listen to this point of order or not.
I do believe Oscar is going to ask a point of order about the relevance of the question. I'm not quite sure. That is what someone would do in this instance. And Oscar is now asking if the comments that Dylan referred to were made in the general chat. This isn't necessarily a point of order, more like a seeking clarity for what is being said.
She did not. They
And
did not respond to that.
they didn't. But Oscar is saying those messages were sent to his knowledge in general chat, and is making the point that general chat is not included in the role play element of our community. So now let's see what else Dylan says.
Oh, Dylan has been allowed to continue their questioning. I believe they are finally asking their question now.
Well, they're out of time.
So yes, that was mostly a statement there.
Mm-hmm.
We did get a question at the end, finally being regarding what they've just said.
And now the Tanishta is mentioning that that Deputy Dylan has been ejected, and is essentially giving Dylan some kind of, excoriation is the proper word for the statement that Dylan had made. And now the CC is asking if it's relevant, the point of order, and is saying that Krispy Kreme is misleading the chamber.
Oh, they have actually said that they weren't ejected multiple times, which the Krispy Kreme had accused them of.
Mm-hmm.
but he is rewording now.
Well, that is something that the records would show if it was in fact the case, but it was not. But now Krispy Kreme is responding. You know, he said openly he's gay, as you are all aware.
Apparently.
And he's mentioning comments were made last year to his friends who ran the parties, mentioned in jest.
They are raising the same point Austria did raise about general chat not being confined to roleplay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now
ends the speech with tags.
Dylan is trying to get recognition again.
So is
trying
Oscar.
to figure out why.
And Oscar has been called.
Oscar has been called.
Another wall of tags, unfortunately. He said that this is possibly, in his words, the most awful register campaign they've seen. Oh, the CC has interrupted him there. Saying we're not on minister's questions. I believe there's a misunderstanding there. Yeah, there's a misunderstanding. I believe the CC thought they were going to ask the question to a Minister of Business. But I believe the Minister of Business is absent, which is why they asked the question.
Mm-hmm.
The motion has been seconded. And now we're moving to Minister's questions, and we see a lot of people rising here.
Well, this is what happens once we get to minister's questions. Anyone can get up and ask a question. Well, when you get to questions to teaching, anyone can get up. So we're now in the point where it is effectively a free-for-all where any deputy, including government deputies, can ask questions. But Mr. Sunday is on his feet and is saying in some areas, his words, he's actually glad at how lackluster the government has been in its performance, and is saying this question is for the Minister for Justice. And the Minister for Justice, Mr. Sunday was Minister of Justice for 3 months under the Trudeau administration, and is saying the Justice Minister is completely unqualified. And he led the department last time, which is what I just said. But for reference to what he's saying, there is an act called the Ministers Act, and there used to be a previous version of that particular law which outlines the different departments that exist within the cabinet and the duties of each person. The Minister for Justice and Equality, as it used to be mandatory that the person holding that position be a registered barrister. in Ireland, either through doing the bar exam and passing it, or through a bar transfer from a different country into Ireland. So now Mr. Sunday is asking why the minister doesn't have a certificate, bar exam certificate, like everyone else in the government, and is mentioning that there is currently a waiting list for the bar exam to be graded, and has mentioned it has been said in public channels, and is now asking the Minister for Justice why he is so inactive, and mentioned that the minister has said nothing in the Department of Justice server. Okay, so this is the Minister for Justice taking up some heat and is asking when he'll get around to rectifying problems created by his inactivity. And now the Minister for Justice is going to respond.
RC does recognise the President, Killian Clark, entering the chamber, and previous, I believe, director of RT.
He's really not supposed to be in there, but hey, it is what it is. The minister is saying he understands the concern about him not having a bar certification, as it is not the first time this concern has been raised.
Yeah, Mr. Sunday has raised this quite a few times.
He has, absolutely. But he has a valid point in doing so. If you're going, as a former Minister of Justice myself, it takes a lot to be Justice Minister. Essentially, nothing happens in Ireland without you knowing about it. Says he's working with relevant sources to complete our judicial promises in the program for government. And now the CC is asking the minister to sit down because apparently his time has expired. Or is it that someone has raised a point of order? I believe someone has raised a point of order. On the Social Democrat benches. He's asking a question rather. He says, I rise today to take a stand against the inactive policy and disregard for the importance of our justice institutions is becoming a hallmark of this government. I ask the Minister for Justice, how can we, the Irish people, expect you to serve in your capacity when you aren't even in the department server? Ooh.
That is actually quite a big thing if they genuinely aren't in the server.
And now, as expected, the CC is asking for evidence of the Minister for Justice being a liar because it is against standing orders to call somebody a liar unless you have actual proof of that. He's saying that the minister is not in the court server. But I should mention, technically, the minister doesn't need to be in the court system server. So I don't understand the point that the deputy was trying to make with his question. But let's see what the minister has to say in response.
I mean, if I understand it right, it seems to be that they kind of like it would be expected that the Minister of Justice does work within the court, actual systems.
Well, no, the minister doesn't. The only role that the minister has over the court is to manage and administer the system, meaning running the system, making sure that you have judges, making sure that you have registrars and court clerks, and ensuring that laws are there for justices to use to make their rulings. Other than that, there's no real need for the minister to be in the court services server. There's no need. And now, who is this? Another deputy is asking about the Department of Foreign Affairs.
I mean, I'm not the most
And is
educated on
saying
justice,
Ireland
so
faces the grave threat of being removed from the Permanent Five, a position of prestige and responsibility on the global stage, and is saying yet the government appears content to sit idly by and watch it happen. A program for government, already a lackluster and inspired document, his words, not mine, promised so little, yet they've somehow managed to deliver even less. Not a single commitment has been fulfilled, not one. On the 21st, the minister announced a visit with Italian counterparts scheduled for that very evening. But what became of it? From the Irish people have been told absolutely nothing. On the 19th, the minister proposed a detailed statement outlining the department's future. And has statement materialized? No, silence. Deputy is now asking, I must ask the government, is the minister truly committed to safeguarding Ireland's place at the P5 table, or are they too busy napping through their responsibilities while Ireland's standing crumbles? Now it is on the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Harley XO, to give a response to the question. All right, Minister of Foreign Affairs. It appears the minister is taking her time to type and has already gone through about half of her speaking time and is now saying that unfortunately the Italians could not have made it to the meeting. They weren't able to make it to the meeting. And what else is she about to say? Therefore, no meeting minutes could be published. Okay. And then mention that Ireland was prepared and ready and online for the meeting. So we do apologize for this fact.
I would say it could be vital for the government to actually report on the fact that there was nothing to come of it because there was an announcement released, but no follow-up, which is kind of what they've been arguing this whole multiple times throughout the session.
Minister saying, I believe that we have a strong Department of Foreign Affairs, and there is a point of order from, is that Ravesai, I believe? Someone on the Social Democratic benches, and
Not
is asking
website,
what.
He's the leader of the Fine Gael, I believe
Fine
it
Gael,
is.
yes.
Yeah.
And is asking, what will the government do to improve the, quote, dead Department of Foreign Affairs? Can they hear what we're saying? All right. Who is speaking? Dylan is asking a question about the Department of Foreign Affairs, but is saying something about getting a refund from Macy's. Anyway, Dylan is now asking about the Foreign Office's promise for 4 foreign meetings a week, and that they have supplied none in the 2 weeks that they have been in office thus far, and is asking, when will we get our meetings? And there is a point of order. Which is seeking the relevance of Dylan speaking about the color of the Minister of Foreign Affairs hat. No.
Someone's choosing quite an inappropriate time to start cleaning the door. Or I believe the president, who's currently watching.
Okay, the president is on the floor and he has gone through the floor for whatever reason. Uh,
Unfortunately, did not get that on camera.
Sadly, the minister is saying that everyone is aware that she is new. This is known to be known and up in the air. And the Minister for Justice is about to leave the chamber.
We did just see Killing Clark fall through the floor again, unfortunately. And it has reached 9 o'clock. So yeah, quite a late session. I believe this will be the last question.
So it has been an hour for questions so far, and at this point, normally the chamber would adjourn for the evening because question time is only scheduled for 1 hour. As of right now, there are 9 deputies present in the chamber. So the chamber still technically is in session, even though
Oh, we do actually
this
have a
is the
last
last question from the leader of the opposition.
Hopefully it is kept short. As Victoria pointed out just a moment ago, she has said that it is apparently bedtime for the Dáil, and only
In the program, the government has various policies to revive the defense forces. And tags.
if I am correct, we'll be speaking with the president soon, or having some words from him. He has just rung up RT's studio, waiting to see if he will speak on anything.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm calling from Orsanukdron, where I was just helicoptered to. It was the Sturgeon helicopter, the Nicholas Sturgeon helicopter, for those wondering.
Oh Lord. So you were in the chamber just a while ago hearing the issues that the government has, or rather issues that the opposition has with the government. As president, I know there are certain things that you cannot say, but you were a former Taoiseach. I
Yeah.
want to know if you think this government is salvageable to some extent.
Well, I don't enjoy speaking as a former Taoiseach. I have gathered that puts quite a spectacle on the office, but the view I hold as president is that so long as my government holds the confidence of Dáil Éireann, it is not just salvageable, but it is maintenance. It is persistent. It holds the confidence of the people of Ireland. So long as they hold that confidence, they are fit to hold office.
And we heard earlier this evening from the Taoiseach that the cabinet is going to meet, or really should have started meeting 4 minutes ago. Have you heard anything that you are at liberty to say that this cabinet meeting, any decisions that may come from this meeting, or?
Well, it would be misleading for me to say I didn't know about a cabinet meeting prior. I know that this government has been working to meet collectively and cooperate with one another for quite some time. My office is, of course, in very close conjunction with the government, so I do know that. I am aware of that. But what exactly is to be discussed at this meeting isn't my business, unless it, of course, is a matter of big constitutional direction. But it isn't my business. I don't know what's going to be discussed. I am just as blissfully ignorant to that as those listening at home.
All right. I believe that a motion to adjourn has been raised and seconded. And now I think they are about to call it an evening. The chamber is adjourned and we'll meet again tomorrow around the same time.
And we will hopefully be able to stream the... I can't pronounce it. The Senate tomorrow. I apologise for not being able to pronounce it, but...
It's okay. I'm sure Kamala can pronounce it. Do you want to pronounce it, Kamala?
Shannon.
You know what? You get brownie points for that.
I haven't learned it, so I probably should do.
It's okay. You get brownie points for that. I hope you all looked at that lovely document the government produced about Irish inauguration words.
We did. I did at least. But before we get into that, I just want to thank all of you for watching this stream of the Dáil Éireann questions to the government from RTE. We will be back tomorrow with the legislative session, and on Sunday we will be live with the series premiere of Wheel of Fortune starring Harley XO and Popcorn 321, who are apparently on separate sides of the Dáil. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.
Yumi, hope to see you tomorrow evening, and hopefully have a good evening.